career start, got the majority of first-team reps in practice this week. So Bird Ficklin is ready to go.
Buck Buchanan sends it deep. Colorado won the coin toss and deferred, and that means Bird Ficklin, his first career start. We've seen him already in 5 different games this season for the Utes. From Muskogee, Oklahoma, a one-time commitment to Texas State. Brocky flipped that pledge late to the Utes, and now start number 1. He is super slippery.
Yeah, and nothing can really quite prepare you for your first career start. It doesn't matter what you've done in mop-up duty or coming in off the bench, but talking to Kyle Whittingham and his staff yesterday, they are really confident in what this young quarterback can do.
Corey Rogers, the running back. They'll flip it to Daniel Bray. We saw this play a week ago against BYU. You want to talk about slippery, the tackle made by Jeremiah Brown, a gain of 12. 13 for the Utes can get after.
I tell you what, Daniel Bray is someone that is really emerging in the Big 12 Conference as a future superstar. Just getting going a couple weeks ago in the West Virginia game, but he made a difference against BYU a week ago.
Send him in motion. Ficklin keeps it. Has some real estate into plus territory. Up to the races. And the true freshman quarterback on play number 2 reaches the end zone. Bird takes flight right away from 63 yards out. Dylan Curtis on for the PAT. What a start. Back in front of the home crowd after that tough loss last week. And it's 7-0, and we're 40 seconds into this one.
Well, what a start for the Utes. And if you're Colorado and you're going against a guy making his first career start, you think he's going to hand it off to the running back. So you're going to see defensive end Arden Walker crash really hard, and everybody's eyes on defense goes inside to the running back, Nakari Rogers. Well, with all of those defenders crashing inside, you see the gaping lane outside on the perimeter for Bird Ficklin, and he goes the distance untouched. This Utah rushing attack is already so difficult to just try to slow down. But when you give a gaping hole like you just saw for the Utes, I mean, that's just too easy at the beginning of the game for the true freshman quarterback.
Took all of 37 seconds, that opening possession. And you and I both wondered, how will this team respond after losing against BYU last week? The rivalry game, the Holy War, it was close. There was a 4th quarter lead for Coach Whittingham, and now you got to bounce back quickly. Not easy to do.
Not easy at all, and there's your answer how the Utes were going to bounce back. You have to think, when you're playing your rival BYU, and it's such a emotionally taxing game, physically taxing game, you couldn't ask for a better start if you're a Utah fan.
Here's Gibson from the 4. And the freshman takes off, elite speed and quickness. Lasso down to the 22. Return of 18, and Caden Salter inserted back into the starting lineup for Coach Prime. And he's had some ups, he's had some downs, was benched a couple of games in. You go back to his time at Liberty, elite production before transferring over to Boulder. And the question is, what can he do now as that confidence starts to rise after the benching and regaining control of this offense? And you see the numbers recently, good but not great, but he's coming off his best game as a Colorado Buffalo.
He certainly is, and I think he gained a ton of confidence what he's doing inside Pat Shurmur's offense that game against the Cyclones.
Lost the handle on the pigskin, and tackled in the backfield was Cam Michael.
Cam Michael came into fall camp, true freshman as a wide receiver, but because of some injuries to the Colorado running back room, he's found himself getting touches in the backfield as a running back, something that we should expect to see a lot of tonight, but also using him as a passing game weapon, free releasing from that running back position.
After a loss of 6, Draylon Miller, Micah Welch flanking Salter in the backfield. Buffalo's coming off an open date after the win against Iowa State. The pass was behind Welch, it's incomplete, and just like that, it's 3rd down and long.
And you just cannot afford to get behind the sticks against this Utah defense. They are just way too aggressive, way too talented. But you touched on it earlier where you said Caden Salter had been inconsistent on early in the season, and you saw it right there on that second down play. That has to be a completion. Football was behind his target.
Utes showing pressure off the twist. Time for Salter. They blocked it well. Down the field and broke it up. Down to the 36. Now the Utes all over those routes. Teo Johnson with a PBU and a 3-and-out for the CU offense.
Well, I really thought the Colorado offensive line did a great job giving their quarterback some time against a really good defensive front. But you see here, the football is just underthrown. This is a ball that needs to go out to the sideline so his wide receiver, Farrakhan, has a chance to run underneath it and pull away from the defender.
Farrakhan, the true freshman wide receiver out of Houston. Coach Prime indicated to us late yesterday that both Farrakhan and Gibson would get a lot of snaps and a lot of reps tonight. End over end punt. Aided by the wind off the bounce. A dangerous return and tackled at the 25. Entertaining start in Salt Lake after a punt of 59. Utes get it back after this. And you wonder what the nerves would be like as Ficklin this time is going to be corralled behind the line of scrimmage. Jeremiah Brown met him, and they're going to lose a yard or two. Well, a good stop by CU in that front seven to start this next possession. But Ficklin, I'll ask you the question. What's it like making your first career start? Like, you had to be a little nervous.
Well, I tell you what, Roy, mine didn't look like that to start. I'll tell you that much. I did make my first career start as a true freshman as well. But I tell you what, so impressive. The coaching staff told us that he has poise and the demeanor that he carries himself with. You would never think he was an 18-year-old freshman. So hearing that from Kyle Whittingham and the staff, I have to think, yes, the young man has nerves, but he's showing right now that he's out there pretty comfortable and has great poise about himself.
You're never nervous. And for Kyle Whittingham, he feels like his freshman signal caller operates in that same vein.
And this will be a big test here, right? You know, obvious throwing down.
Here comes the pressure. They'll set it up in the flats, and it's incomplete. Looking for Daniel Bray, and the pressure got there in plenty of time to force the 3-and-out. It was Arden Walker.
And that's going to be the big question about the true freshman making his first career start. We know what he can do on the ground. We know what he can do with his legs, but is he going to be able to make the necessary passes downfield tonight in obvious passing situations? That was a football. If he's able to lead his running back, there's a really good chance Utah picks up a first down.
The second down pass intended for the tight end Bentley was broken up by Byard. He's having himself an incredible season. They're transferring in to Coach Prime's program, and Farrakhan with a fair catch. So Colorado, pretty good field position. Second possession of this game as we take a look at tonight's impact players, brought to you by Brooks Running.
Some of the big fellas up front. Left tackle for Colorado, Jordan Seaton. Deion Sanders has dubbed him the franchise just a sophomore outstanding player. And then defensive end John Henry Daly, second in the country right now when it comes to sack production with 9. And his counterpart on the other side, Logan Fano, an excellent player himself. Doesn't necessarily have the stats to show it, but the impact he makes on a game is massive.
Cam Michael lines up in the backfield. We've seen him and Draylon Miller as running backs tonight for CU. And Michael, a touch, busting through the line ahead towards the 46. So a good gain on first down. Benny a tackle. And a gain of 6 for the Buffaloes.
And the big question tonight, it's exactly what you just saw for Colorado's offense. Are they going to be able to establish a run game against this big physical front seven for the Utah Utes? Because if you're not able to, I promise you, you don't want to get into a pass fest when the two impact players for Utah are defensive ends.
7 in the box. Dallin Hayden, his first carry. And on second down, a gain of 1. And a penalty marker was thought to come in, and now it does not. It'll be third.
Now, if you're Caden Salter and you're the Colorado offense, you have to understand coming into the game tonight, nobody plays more man coverage in the entire country than Utah, and they also bring the 4th most pressure. You have to have a plan against man.
Salter gets rid of it quickly, tumbling down into plus territory. The grab by Quentin Gibson. So the freshman out of Fort Worth, Texas, 10th catch of the season, and the drive continues for CU.
We talk about having a plan for man coverage. This is just going to be a basic little two-man combination here, but this is who's in man coverage. You have to see what this creates. A little bit of hesitation, you get a natural rub, and that's why you get the wide open wide receiver for CU.
1 yard pickup by Micah Welch. Feels like a big early possession for the Buffaloes here, trailing early 7-0. It's already our 4th possession of this game, Brock.
Yeah, I agree, and I think if anything, just for your confidence, you know, coming on the road, we talked to Deion Sanders last night. They developed a lot of confidence beating Iowa State 2 weeks ago, but coming on the road, tough environment, Rice-Eccles Stadium, how do they respond tonight being down 7 early?
There goes Welch over the right side, and on 2nd down and 9, a gain of just 2. Sepulveda brought him down quickly. It's 3rd and long.
Now, if you're Colorado and you're in plus territory, you have to wonder, is this 4-down territory? If it is, don't be surprised if Colorado decides to pop a run or maybe try to use a quick screen to kind of slow down those defensive ends and edge rushers for the Utah Utes.
Miller, the running back, now serving in pass protection. Salter goes down. The shoestring tackle back at the 40 by Trey Reynolds. First full sack of the season. That's a loss of 12.
Well, when you're playing the Utes, what do you have to be prepared for? Man coverage and pressure. And you're going to see Trey Reynolds. He's going to come from his outside linebacker position here, just untouched off the edge. You cannot hold on to the football if you're Caden Salter. You have to know the cavalry is coming, and Morgan Scalley's defense, they are going to heat you up early and often.
The trust between quarterback and head coach. Quarterback and offensive coordinator certainly under the spotlight. Salter earned more trust in the win against Iowa State. Carvalho off the hop, was hit hard at the 24 and spins ahead towards the 25. Utes get it back, leading by 7 after a punt of 43.
Missed opportunity for Colorado. You're going to see some motion out here by the wide receiver. When they create this stack, it causes a lot of communication for the Utah defenders. Quentin Gibson is going to pop wide open down the seam because there's a bust in the secondary. If Caden Salter can recognize this or just get an extra half a second against pressure, there was an opportunity for a huge Colorado play.
Parker picks up 2 back to live action. And I mentioned the trust between quarterback and head coach, quarterback and offensive play caller. It's still a work in progress, really on both sides for a multitude of reasons we can talk about. Salter kind of regained it in that win against Iowa State 2 weeks ago, and apparently also during the open day.
He really did, and the big question coming into tonight was, could he sustain that? Could he use that Iowa State game as a building block? Right now, he's not been up to task.
Ficklin spun away from the first potential tackler. And a 2-yard pickup close to the 30. It'll be 3rd down for the Utes.
Outside of the opening series of the game, this front 7 for Colorado, they've been doing a really good job containing this run game. There's some young players in the front 7 for Colorado. They're starting some true freshmen up on that defensive line. Really good job forcing a 3rd down.
It was the senior McNeil that got the stop that time. On 3rd down, a low snap, and Ficklin in traffic looking for his tight end Bentley, and it is incomplete. So an uneven start after the 2 big plays to get the scoring underway tonight. 2 straight 3-and-outs forced by the CU defense.
Yeah, I think you need to give a lot of credit to Robert Livingston and his defense. Keep an eye on number 4 right there. That's Preston Hodge playing nickelback for the Buffaloes. I think he does an excellent job. That's just glove coverage. And that's going to be the question. Bird Ficklin, we know he can run the football. We know how athletic he is. But when it comes to third down, obvious passing situations, can he make the plays he needs to?
And it's a fake punt. The Utes have a first down and a lot more. Dallin Bentley. Well, that's one way to do it. A little trickery. And a gain of 25 yards.
When you're playing a Kyle Whittingham football team, you have to be ready for trickery on special teams. This is the starting tight end, Dallin Bentley. Watch how he just sneaks right past the Colorado defenders. No eyes on him. How about that play design, Roy?
Orion Phillips, the punter. Didn't have to throw it very far. And Bentley did the bulk of the dirty work. Daniel Bray over the left side, a 2-yard gain on first down. And what a momentum shift that was after CU's defense showed up.
It is, and listen, we said it in the open. For Utah, this is a playoff-like game. That is what this game is to them. They already have 2 conference losses, one against Texas Tech, the other against BYU. If they're going to get to the Big 12 championship, they need to win out. They need some help. They're laying it all on the line tonight.
Rogers straight ahead towards the 40. So Phillips actually records the first completion of this game after Ficklin's 0 for 3 start. Rogers picks up 2. It'll be third down, and we know Utah likes to go for it on fourth down. That was a popular topic of conversation this week for Coach Whittingham after what happened against BYU.
Yeah, and don't be surprised if Utah runs the football here. It's 3rd and 5, but you just saw Colorado substituted. They brought out their pass rush front. Don't be surprised if Utah tries to combat that by running the football.
Ficklin keeps it with a crease and right at the line to gain. That is enough for the first down. 5-yard pickup on 3rd and 5.
Listen, when you bring in pass rush specialists on 3rd down like Colorado just did, it's advantageous to this Utah offense to try to run the ball when it's 3rd and 5 or less. The big fellas up front for Utah, that front 5, maybe the best complete offensive line in all of college football.
Yeah, you want to talk about draftable prospects in the trenches between Lomu and Fano. A pair of offensive tackles. Have scouts thinking about the top 10 picks next year's draft. Ficklin gets rid of it, broken up beautifully at the last minute by DJ McKinney. And Ryan Davis was open for a brief second. McKinney was there.
That was a really nice job of McKinney getting over the top in man coverage. You see, he's trailing Ryan Davis. Does a great job in navigating that traffic, driving on the football, and getting the pass breaker up using all of his 6'2" frame.
It's a young Colorado team after losing all that talent from last year's squad. They've shown flashes at different times on both sides of the ball, and again deflected. Preston Hodge that time. The pass was behind Ryan Davis. It's 3rd and 10.
Well, you see the name of the game when it's coming to throwing the football for this Utah offense. Colorado, they're going to play man coverage. They're going to challenge these Utah wide receivers. Right now, they're not separating. They're not making it easy for Bird Ficklin. He is really being tested with his accuracy early on in this football game.
Ficklin came in a perfect 9 for 9 in 5 games as a backup. He's 0 for 5 to start his first game as a Utes starter. And tumbling down towards the 30. It'll be 4th down from there. Now decision time for Kyle Whittingham. Byer the tackle after a gain of 6. Now the analytics, a popular topic as we mentioned here in Salt Lake this week after a 1 for 4 performance on 4th down last week in the Holy War. Analytics tell you to kick the field goal here, and that's what the Utes will do. Dylan Curtis from 48 and just inside that left hash. 5 for 8 this season. And there is a breeze that is swirling. A flag comes in. And this one appears to be against Utah.
False start. Offense. Number 75. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Carvon Barrett, our referee tonight, leading this veteran Big 12 crew. And now we'll back him up 5. And Curtis drilled a 54-yarder at UCLA back in week 1. This attempt moves from 48 to 53 yards. 54-yarder in the Rose Bowl. Wind certainly is a factor. And Curtis drives it right through, extending the Utes' advantage. Plenty of distance and a powerful stroke.
How about that kick by Dylan Curtis, and the confidence Kyle Whittingham puts in his true freshman kicker, elected to go for it on 4th down 3 different times in the red zone a week ago. 10-0 here, Utes in Salt Lake.
Team on homecoming with the advantage. And Dylan Curtis, after connecting from 53, that's a touchback. Let's get you back to the studio and Matt Berry. Matthew, an impressive score there for the fighting Texas Aggies, and Marcel Reed plus Colin Klein calling plays. It's taken a little bit of time, but it's working out quite well for head coach Mike Elko.
I tell you what, it's a beautiful thing down there in College Station right now. The Aggies are rolling.
Big possession for CU. Michael spun down. He's going to lose 2. It'll be 2nd down and 12.
That was a really good job by Jonathan Hall getting in there after the defensive line created early penetration. Colorado is going to have to find a way to establish some sort of run game against this front 7 for Utah. It's going to be tough sledding, but they need to. I would like to see Pat Shurmur start dialing up some quarterback designed runs. I think Caden Salter is at his best when he's contributing to the run game and gets outside the pocket.
Buffalo's with -6 total yards to start. And 1 first down, and that's it. Here's Dallin Hayden into a pile. He'll pick up a yard. That's it. Sepulveda met him there. It'll be 3rd and long.
Tell you what, this Utah front doing a great job controlling that line of scrimmage right now. Pat Shurmur's really going to have his work cut out for him tonight. Here's an obvious passing situation early on in this football game. Can Caden Salter find a go-to matchup against all this man coverage Utah likes to play?
Salter, the starter again, retreats off the back foot. Nowhere close to the line to gain. And sent down quickly was Sincere Brown. Benny brought him to the turf, and here comes a penalty flag in. Well, Salter had to retreat to buy as much time as he could with that Utah pass rush. It has been fierce to start.
Personal foul, face mask, number 77. That penalty has been declined. 4th down.
That's the big fella, Jordan Seaton, left tackle for Colorado. True sophomore, outstanding player, will probably be the first offensive lineman off the board in next year's draft, but he has a tall task tonight. You see the clear-cut face mask going against number 90, John Henry Daly, who's 2nd in all of college football with 9 sacks on the year.
Damon Greaves in for CU to punt. And Mana Carvalho back deep to receive. The wind drifts this one back all the way to the 23. Carvalho waiting for the convoy. Made 1 defender miss. Tumbles down to the 42. Time now for the Protection Spotlight, brought to you by Prudential.
Yeah, and the best way to protect your young quarterbacks is to have a great run game. I want to show you 2 weeks ago against Arizona State why it's so difficult. There are 3 different components that a defense has to defend. The speed sweep, the quarterback run. Wait, there's also a speed option out there. There's so many things that a defense has to deal with when you're going against this. When your quarterback can run the football, this is last week, defensive end has to take the quarterback. Well, that only leaves 3 defenders outside on the perimeter, but Utah has 4 blockers. They create a numbers advantage time and time again. And right there, Jason Beck, he's the man calling the shots for this Utah offense. I think he has done a tremendous job coming over from New Mexico.
Yeah, coming in from the Lobos. There goes Parker. Wayshawn, show me the way to the end zone. A 58-yard touchdown run for the Utes. And Utah in business at home tonight. You see Coach Prime with a conversation with his defensive coordinator, Robert Livingston. 2 big plays given up on the ground here in our first quarter.
And that was really going to be the question coming into this game. Can Colorado slow down this Utah rushing attack? Everybody in the country knows that that is exactly what Utah wants to do. Right now they have it. Okay, if you're going to play a too-high safety defense, it's numbers advantage to the offense. You're going to see a great block by the tight end, Dallin Bentley. And then here's Lomu, the left tackle, with an outstanding kick-out block. Too-high safety look. The box advantage numbers go to Utah. And then obviously Wayshawn Parker does a tremendous job when he gets out to the open field, making one miss. He does the rest, hits his head off the goalpost. And right now, that's 2 touchdown runs for the Utes that the Buffaloes have just made way too easy.
From 63 and 58 yards out, respectively. One by the quarterback making his first career start, the other by Wayshawn Parker just seconds ago. I want to ask you, too. I'm a play-by-play person. I don't follow what happens on the offensive line as often as I should. It doesn't feel like it's normal to see Caleb Lomu pull the way that he did and move that way. And Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, knows it. It was going to be a potential struggle tonight with that massive Utah front. And indeed it has been. But Lomu, you see why so many scouts like what he could be at the next level.
You're spot on, Roy, and it's why Lomu is going to hear his name called in the first round if he decides to enter his name in the NFL draft, as is the right tackle Spencer Fano. But it's not just those two, right? Obviously they're big, they're athletic. You saw what he did on that last play. It's all 5 of the offensive linemen for the Utah Utes. This is a group that returned all 5 starters from a season ago. This is without a doubt the strength of the team, and you're seeing it on full display tonight.
Questions for CU, answers for Utah to start. Critical game in the Big 12. Utah still with its eyes on the prize. Just 2 losses. The path is there, albeit complicated. Cam Michael racing across the 30. A good gain on first down. And Coach Prime reminded us last night, on first down, we've got to get 4, we've got to get 5, and he's talking to his quarterback all night long about it.
That's right, Roy, and that's exactly what this Colorado offense has not done early on in this football game tonight. They have not had success on first or second down. I thought Caden Salter did an excellent job that last play. He recognized the second-level pressure by Utah and got the football out of his hand.
3-man offensive line. Jordan Seaton, the tackle, serving as a blocker. And Salter didn't even look that direction, so some misdirection. Leia Aya able to stop that gain after a 3-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down and less than a yard.
With Colorado getting to the line of scrimmage really quick, you got to expect a quarterback sneak.
There it is, the dive, and Salter picks up the first down. A 2-yard pickup on 3rd and short. And for Pat Shurmur, back to the playbook.
You go back to the 2 plays ago, that formation. You saw Jordan Seaton, the big left tackle. He kind of lined up out at wide receiver. We had fun talking with him last night. We said, are we ever going to see you touch the football? He said, I took that pass in practice a couple days ago.
Yeah, he stole it on the attempted tunnel screen. Open receiver, and the pass is going to be intercepted. Teo Johnson, his 2nd pick of the season. And a costly turnover for the Buffs.
Well, Caden Salter does not see the safety Teo Johnson at all. Here's going to be Teo Johnson. You're going to see he's going to play a deep half in cover 2, and your cornerback is going to play up here. Running backs on a go route. Caden Salter just put his eyes on the cornerback, Elijah Davis. You can see him staring at that corner. He has no idea where the safety, Teo Johnson, is. Stares down that go route, even pump fakes the running back, taking Teo Johnson right to that football. Critical mistake by Caden Salter.
The Utes are up 17-0. And the freshman quarterback has yet to complete a pass until now. Bray's got it, and he's got a first down. Daniel Bray is so shifty. I mean, he's only 190 pounds, if that. He finds a way as DJ McKinney ushered him out of bounds after a gain of 11.
I love this play designed by Jason Beck. Great job recognizing that Colorado's in man coverage. You create a natural rub on the linebacker, and you get one of your speedsters out in space with the football. Really, really good job by Jason Beck, dialing up something easy for his young quarterback to get into rhythm with.
Utes will take their time. This is America's 6th best rushing offense this season. Adding to that total, there's Parker. Through a lane across the 40 into plus territory. The Utes on the move again. It's a gain of 12 more. Finiseth with a tackle late.
Well, we've talked about the left tackle and the right tackle, but now you ought to see Moko Fisi with his pull. That's the big right guard, 6'4", 315 pounds. That's what I'm saying. It is all 5 offensive linemen that are playing at a really high level for this Utes football team.
They'll try Parker again. Stood up by Jeremiah Brown after a gain of just 1. And here comes a flag. Wayshawn Parker. The short pickup. And the laundry came out late.
After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense. Number 1 is a 15-yard penalty, 2nd down. That is the first unsportsmanlike conduct on number 1.
Yeah, Wayshawn Parker just needs to keep his composure. You know there's some John and talking going on down there on the field, but this is just too easy for the officials. They're going to see that every time. Got to stay cool in these moments.
Parker on the sidelines. Nakari Rogers back on the field. Thicklin wants to throw it and will. Lofts it deep. And a pass is incomplete. J.J. Buchanan was covered by Preston Hodge. But he got 2 hands on it late, Brock.
Yeah, really good job by the quarterback recognizing man coverage. But how about that coverage by Preston Hodge? He gets his right hand in there ever so late to break up that pass to J.J. Buchanan.
Now, talking with Jason Beck this week, he said Buchanan reminded him a little bit of what he had at Syracuse with Oronde Gadsden, the frame and the chance for big plays down the field. 3rd down and 24. The penalty proving to be costly on this possession.
Huge opportunity for Colorado to get off the field.
Bray, a little orbit motion. The ball pops out, and who jumped on top? Buffaloes think they have it. If so, they'll set up shop in plus territory, and let's see. It is all Utah back in Salt Lake. Brock Osweiler, Roy Philpott, Stormy Bonantoni. We saw a fake punt in the first quarter by Orion Phillips. Not this time. Fair catch by Farrakhan Jr. Buffaloes will take over deep their own end of the field after a punt of 41. And listen, Utah, the offensive line, Coach Prime knew that was going to be a challenge. Coming off the open date, they tackled to the ground for the last week to try to make sure they were prepared for the physicality they would see tonight. Coming off an open date, it's not how you want to start.
No, and that's right, Roy. Deion Sanders didn't shy away from it. He said it was the most physical week of practice since he's been the head coach there in Boulder, Colorado. But I tell you what, running the football and stopping the run, it is a mentality. And when you come into Rice-Eccles Stadium, you better have that chin strap buckled up. And right now, Colorado's really struggling with those 2 facets.
Play action. Time for Salter. Flings one deep. And spinning down was Harge near midfield. And Isaiah Harge with just 6 catches all season. 2nd and 10.
I'll tell you what, Caden Salter, he's just off. That last play, Colorado, Pat Shermer, they're trying to take a shot down the field and try to spark this Colorado offense. I thought the offensive line did a tremendous job giving Salter time to throw that football, but you saw it, the ball's just way behind the receiver, never had a chance.
Just 3 for 7 to start. Miller and Welch, the running back. Salter wants to throw it again. Liberty transfer, and that pass was deflected. There is a flag down at the 2. Holtzclaw applying the pressure with a pass breakup. Any penalty on the offense in the end zone results in 2 points as a safety. And let's see what happened here.
Holding, offense, number 77. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Well, that's going to be on Jordan Seaton. We've said his name a lot tonight, and here he is once again. He's working on John Henry Daly. We've said it. He is second in college football with 9 sacks. We knew the sophomore Jordan Seaton, as talented as a player as he is, he was going to have a huge, tall task tonight going against John Henry Daly. And right now, Henry Daly is in complete control of that matchup.
That was our impact matchup to start tonight, and now it's 3rd and 10. And here comes the heat.
Timeout, Colorado. It is their first of the half. It will be 30 seconds.
3rd year for Coach Prime in Boulder. Last season, plethora of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball, really on both sides. And you saw the end result as he moved from 4 wins to 9, and there was a lot happening a season ago in Boulder, but he knew this year it was kind of a rebuild with a lot of youth and a lot of access to the portal.
That's right, but he was also confident in the talent in the football team that he was going to have. He told me at Big 12 Media Days back in July, he said, listen, you cannot replace a Shedeur Sanders. You cannot replace a Travis Hunter, but he felt like he had a better football team going into this season. He just said it to Stormy in the break. We gotta make a play offensively, and that's something they haven't been able to do tonight. And it really falls on the quarterback, Caden Salter. Yes, he hasn't had help in the run game, but Caden Salter had an excellent career at Liberty, throwing for over 9,000 yards when you combine rushing and passing, over 90 touchdowns. But this Utah defense, they're in complete control right now.
John Henry Daly getting lathered up, 3rd and long. Salter again off the back foot, and nobody home. That pass without a receiver within 25 yards. You wonder, could that be intentional grounding?
I think it's going to be a safety. It's going to be intentional grounding and a safety. We've talked about it. You have to have a plan against pressure when you're playing against Morgan Scalley. And Caden Salter thus far tonight has had no plan. You're going to see it. Look at everybody up at the line of scrimmage. This is an all-out pressure. This is what Morgan Scalley has done for the last 10 years since he took over as defensive coordinator for the Utes. And right now, Pat Shermer and Caden Salter do not have a plan.
Number 3, the penalty happened in the end zone, results in a safety.
Salter within the constraints of the tackle box and gets it where a receiver did not exist. The heavy pressure coming in by Benny. Jonathan Hall was there, and give the Utes 2 more.
And it's what I was saying leading into that last play. Caden Salter has had an excellent career. When you look back and you see everything that he did at Liberty, 21-4 as a starter. But when you watch him play in this Colorado uniform, he just doesn't seem comfortable. And I think that is a perfect example as to why. You know Utah is going to bring pressure. What you're playing with the football, doesn't know where to go. You have a safety. You're down 19 here at the start of the 2nd quarter.
What a bounce back for Kyle Whittingham's team after the loss a week ago. Trying to pick up another win in the rough and rugged, always wild Big 12. A lot of conversations this week about what happened in that game on 4th down. Opportunities missed with a 4th quarter lead, but still in position in this conference to do a lot of damage this final Saturday in October. And you just never know where the upset losses are coming from in the Big 12 this season. That kick coming from the 20 after the safety. And the return by Glover. Out of bounds across. Now you look at what the Cougars and Bearcats have done, undefeated in the league. An incredible turnaround by Scott Satterfield and for Kalani Sitake. I know Utah fans don't want to hear it that are watching late night. I mean, this may be a team that figures out a way, perhaps to run the table, given their comeback ability and what we saw in Ames earlier.
I tell you what, Bear Bachmeier is special.
He wears number 47 as a starting quarterback. It's beautiful.
It's the best. I love it.
Arden Walker a tackle.
True freshman himself.
You mentioned this to us earlier in the week. Under Kyle Whittingham, at times that week after BYU, it's been a struggle just because those games are so physical. Ficklin, a beautiful keep on the move again. The stutter step into CU territory. Well, the fake to Daniel Bray caught Colorado looking the other direction, a gain of 20.
Well, watch what the fake to Daniel Bray does to a defense. It gets all eyes running there, and then you get two pulling offensive linemen by Utah. This is just a thing of beauty by Jason Beck, and once again, another reason why it's so tough to defend this rushing attack.
Bray, the running back. Ficklin already with 98 rush yards. Pass is caught by Davis off the spin. And shoved out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Well, Davis in traffic with Finisette. And a gain of 28.
Talk about threading the needle. I thought cornerback 29, Ivan Yates, was going to come up to Davis and maybe pick this football or just take it from him. But great concentration by Ryan Davis to pull in this football and pick up an explosive gain for his young quarterback.
Now, Davis has been everywhere. UAB, then New Mexico, now here with the Utes. Bray motions out. Ficklin delivers a strike towards the front pylon. Buchanan into the end zone from 22 yards out. Third touchdown of the season for the freshman tight end from Henderson, Nevada.
Well, Jason Beck just dialing it up once again. All right, you're going to get a post outside. That's going to take these two defenders. Then you're going to get a flat defender out here after the motion that's going to play with the running back. That is exactly why this tight end pops wide open down the sideline by himself. You see it. Corner, safety going with the post. The nickel defender, Hodge, has to stay there for the back. There's no one left for the tight end, J.J. Buchanan. I'll tell you what, Jason Beck is calling himself a heck of a ball game early on.
Now the Utes without the services of Lander Barton tonight after the targeting penalty last week. Tight ends everywhere for that head man, and Buchanan gets it done here.
Well, listen, there might have been some concern for Utah fans with Devin Dampier out of the game, but with Bird Ficklin at the helm, this Utah football team is firing on all cylinders.
Here. 26-0 our score, and the Buffs get it back. And in search of some sort of spark on offense against this ferocious front seven of the Utes.
Well, listen, very rarely in a football game with 12 minutes and 50 seconds to go in a second quarter do you say this is a got-to-have-it drive for an offense, but that is exactly where the Colorado Buffaloes are at. You see tonight what's transpired. 5 drives, -2 total yards, and only 2 first downs in this football game. They have to get points on this drive if they're going to have any chance tonight.
And again, it's coming off the open date after the biggest win of the season against top 25 Iowa State back in Boulder 2 weeks ago. Salter pressure, gets rid of it, and heaves it out of bounds. His running back Micah Welch was in the area, but it's pick your poison up front. Logan Fano applies the pressure.
Well, listen, Morgan Scalley is not calling off the dogs for Utah. He doesn't care that he's up 26 points. You're going to get a pressure here by the Utes on first down. And once again, I've said it 100 times tonight. Caden Salter, Pat Shurmur, you have to have an answer for pressure and man coverage, and right now they don't.
Salter, the slant pattern. It's there. Right at the line to gain for Sincere Brown. Pickup of 12, and the chains will move as Brown hauls it in traffic, and that's a good start for CU. Morgan Scalley, head coach in waiting, and his track record awfully impressive across multiple fronts as a recruiter and a play caller.
Well, listen, he's been revered as one of the best defensive coordinators in America for a lot of years now. This is his 18th season on staff with the Utes, 10th as defensive coordinator. Grew up just a couple miles from Rice-Eccles Stadium here. He is everything that the Utes are all about.
Salter escapes. Down to Stormy.
Well, and Kyle Whittingham even told us about Morgan Scalley that when it comes to the tactics and educating the defense, all the game within the game stuff, he's never been around anybody better than he is. He's never seen somebody watch more tape than he does, and obviously it pays dividends with what these guys are doing on the field.
He's a special player, or excuse me, coordinator, Stormy. I think what he does potentially best is how he's able to educate and teach his players on situational football, the intricacies of defense. He's been one of the best coordinators in America going on a decade now.
Lasso down in the backfield. John Henry Daly. And a loss of a yard leads us to 3rd down and long again. And from Morgan Scalley, you asked him the question, Coach, head coach in waiting, what's it like? And he said, you never know what life brings you. We're out here, we're calling plays, and we're on to the next week in Colorado.
That's right. And he said, right now my focus is to be the best defensive coordinator I can be for the Utah football team. But right here on 3rd down, Colorado, if they're going to stay in the game, you have to have a plan for pressure. Utah's showing that right now.
Here they come over the left side, pocket collapsing. Salter, the pump fake, retreating again. And out of bounds with the throw. Jonathan Hall applying that pressure that time. It's been Hall, Daly, Fano. Pick your poison against Coach Prime's team tonight.
Listen, I tell you what, this is a clinic right now by this Utah defense on how to play suffocating football. They bring pressure once again, but how about the back end? The corners, the safeties, doing an excellent job in man coverage, blanket coverage, nowhere to go with the football for Caden Salter, and there's just been no answers for this Buffalo's offense this evening.
To your point, 5th time tonight, Salter has simply thrown the ball away under duress.
Just nowhere to go with the ball.
Greaves with the punt. Carvalho keeps his play alive, tumbles down, crossing the 40. After a punt of 40, a return of 17. And we remind you, for 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you, Allstate. A spectacular evening and a jam-packed student section here at Rice Eccles. And a nighttime game. Brock Osweiler, Roy Philpott, Stormy Bonantoni. The decibel level starts to rise and the pressure starts to mount on opposing teams. And even with a freshman quarterback, a lot can happen in his growth and development.
How about that? A little wildcat. That was the running back, Wayshawn Parker, taking the direct snap. Utah using everybody on the offensive side of the ball tonight. Jason Beck calling a great game.
We haven't seen a lot of the Rhino just yet, and they've got all sorts of weapons with that power set. And a multitude of tight end / offensive tackles to throw into that position. And Ficklin sails that one on a rope out of bounds. And Bird just 3 for 10 to start, but on the ground, the 98 rushing yards, nearly 12 yards per attempt in career start number 1.
Yeah, but you know what the biggest stat is, and we've yet to say it? He hasn't turned the football over. When you're a true freshman quarterback making your first career start, and don't kid yourself, he's filling in for some big shoes. Devin Dampier, the starting quarterback, has had an excellent season to this point in the year. So there was a lot of pressure on Bird Ficklin coming into the game tonight. I think he's done a great job managing the game and executing this offense.
They'll roll him out, and the left-hander delivers. That's a strike into plus territory. Buchanan starting to heat up, a gain of 14.
How about that grab by Buchanan? I tell you what, this freshman is really starting to make a name for himself here at Salt Lake City. I really like the dynamic aspect he brings to the table. He's kind of that hybrid wide receiver tight end.
Ficklin keeps it. And a shoestring stop after a gain of 1. Bert Ficklin from the same hometown in Oklahoma as the great Carrie Underwood.
Oh, hey. Go a little country music.
Muskogee, Oklahoma, state championship in 2023 we reference, and they called him Bird when he was born because it was impossible to keep meat on his bones back in the day. And the nickname stuck. In the pocket, he'll escape. He is slippery. To the edge, he'll make something out of nothing, and here comes a flag. 2, in fact. Make it 3 as Ficklin sails out of bounds. I figured you would like the Carrie Underwood reference.
I think this is going to be a crackback block. That's on the Rhino. Big fella, Talonga, 99.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block, offense, number 99. 15-yard penalty from the slide of foul. 2nd down.
Talonga's been a big piece to this offense, and especially the rushing attack, helping out as a heavy offensive lineman, an extra lineman in the game. And this is just a play that's been taken out of college football for a number of years. It's a safety issue. In that situation, you just need to get into a screening posture, almost like you're playing basketball. Just get in the defender's way, because that's too easy of a call in a play that shouldn't happen.
It's freshman on freshman. McPherson, the wrong end of that collision. Ficklin takes off. Get back to the original line of scrimmage on 2nd down and long. And now Ficklin over 100 yards rushing in his debut as a starter.
I mean, I tell you what, Jason Beck is just calling a good game. Look at this light box that Colorado's playing with. This is too easy. And then when you get the running back to be a lead blocker for you, the numbers game once again is in your favor for Colorado, or excuse me, Utah. If you're Colorado, you need to load up that box. You need to bring an extra safety down in there to play run. That's just too easy for the Utah offense.
Empty backfield on 3rd down and 11. Box is light again. Ficklin thought about throwing it. Now takes off. The jump cut and a 1st down. He slides in safely at the 30. Now Ficklin found a way again. The rush yards continue to stockpile. That's 13 more.
I tell you what, this true freshman is special. The thing that impresses me most, it's the poise that he's playing with. He doesn't panic in the pocket. Nobody's open down the field. Protects the football, tucks it and run. You can tell Jason Beck has done an excellent job getting this young signal caller ready to go tonight. That is a big-time pickup for this Ute offense.
And Brock, they've brought him along in the right way. They found series early in the season against UCLA, against Cal Poly, and just getting him more reps and more confidence. Over the left side, Ficklin. Another 1st down. He enrolled in the spring, and she has been so incredible as we check in again with Stormy.
And with that in mind, Ficklin originally, the thought process was that he wasn't going to be the backup. It was going to be Isaac Wilson with all the experience he had starting a year ago. But because the strength of this team is the run game, Jason Beck said he fit this scheme at such a high level that they had to go with him. And obviously he's been great in the limited time we've had to see him.
Penalty flag came in late. Thank you, Stormy.
You know, Stormy, and the other thing with Ficklin is he's gotten so many quality reps in practice with the first team, because Dampier's been battling injuries all season long. So besides the game reps.
After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 71. That'll be a 15-yard penalty. It'll be 1st and 10 for Utah. That is the first unsportsmanlike conduct foul for number
71. Caleb Lomu, starting left tackle.
Well, listen, you coach your players to play through the whistle, but when a defender's out of bounds, you can't block them. That's exactly what happens on that last play. Caleb Lomu just plays with so much passion and intensity. Hard to pull up in that moment.
Daniel Bray back in at running back. He'll switch sides with Ficklin. And another touch, corralled quickly and driven down. That's a TFL. So on the 1st down play, Arden Walker, who's had some moments tonight. You can see flashes with this young Colorado front 4 at times. That's going to be a loss of 6.
No doubt about it. Great play by Arden Walker, and he was somebody coming into the season for Colorado. There was really high expectations for this defensive end. 4.5 sacks a season ago, but he's yet to really get that production going. That was a nice play, though.
2nd and 16, under 7 to play, and a 26-point lead for the Utes. And Ficklin able to escape 2 tackles, but not a 3rd. Stopped at the 36.
I'll tell you what, this freshman quarterback, he's just slippery. He's tough to bring down. There's been a couple times tonight where it looks like he's only going to get a couple yards. Someone's going to get him down as he kind of enters the line of scrimmage, but he's breaking that first tackle multiple times tonight and picking up really good yards.
3rd down and 12. Final game of a wacky week 9. And the Utes with their longest drive of the game in terms of time of possession at this point. Approaching 5 minutes. Ficklin zips it. Pass is caught. Was he in bounds? The answer is yes. The far side grab by Larry Simmons. Oh, Simmons, first time he's been targeted tonight, his 6th catch of the season.
Just a 4-man rush by Colorado. Plenty of time to push the football down the field. And how about that footwork along the sidelines by Larry Simmons? Excellent job of knowing where he is. Great body control. And how about that throw by the true freshman quarterback? You could not have handed it to him in a better spot.
The Rhino, Moei on the field. Utes show a power look. Ficklin wants to throw it and short-armed it, and it may have been tipped by Byard at the last moment as well. He's been active his last couple of games for Coach Prime's team.
That was a really nice play by Byard. He's somebody who's really stepped up for this Colorado defense, coming over from University of South Florida, having an excellent year for the Buffaloes. He's the leading tackler on the team with 52 coming into tonight.
Hydesville, Maryland, DeMatha High School, known for its basketball, an outstanding athletic program. Here's Ficklin, a little shake and bake inside the 10. It'll be 3rd down and short, and Utah inside the 10-yard line once again.
I tell you what, this offensive line for Utah, it has just been complete domination up front since the get-go of this game. Keep an eye, when Utah's running the football, right now they are pushing that front 4 for Colorado back 3-4 yards every single play. They are in complete control of that line of scrimmage.
And Brock, to your point, 238 rush yards tonight. That's just 7 off their season average per game. Taulonga, the Rhino, Rogers, the running back. It's a power look. Rogers maintains his balance and plows over the 5. They'll pick up the 1st down. It's 1st and goal from the 4.
Well, when you have 315 pounds as your fullback, 99 Taulonga, it's going to be really helpful when you're trying to pick up 2 yards. This is a Utah team. They use an extra lineman more than any other team in the entire country, and that is a big reason why this Utah rushing attack is so difficult to stop.
Taulonga in the I formation as the fullback, with Rogers as the running back. And a look that screams, we're going to run it straight at you, and they do. To the 2, and that's it. It'll be 2nd and goal from there. I mean, you feel like you know what's coming. The question is, can Colorado figure out a way to stop it? It's likely going to be on the ground and right in your kitchen.
There is nothing more demoralizing to a defense than knowing the run is going to come at you and having no way to stop it, and that's exactly what we're seeing.
Same look. Rogers again off the right side to the edge, into the end zone again for the Utes. The dominant first half by Utah continues. 60 yards in 16 plays.
Well, this is power football at its finest. You got Moei 49 at the right side, and then you got Taulonga 99. Those are those extra linemen that I'm talking about. 325 pounds, 317 pounds. You have 2 extra linemen on the field. That is just power football to a T. It embodies what Kyle Whittingham wants his football team to be.
I never majored in mathematics, but you just gave me about 640 pounds of man paving the way for Rogers, and the Utes in firm control here at home in Salt Lake. The total difference in total offense tonight and approaching record territory at a differential of 355. Let's get you back to the studio and Matt Berry. Good evening, Matt. Willie Fritz getting the job done in H-Town. An amazing job. Surprise win on the road in Tempe, and Sam Levitt clearly not 100%. That's a continuing story, but a big win for H-Town, for Houston on the road.
I tell you what, Willie Fritz knows how to coach football. Every stop that he's been, year 2, his programs take off.
Quentin Gibson off the screen, able to escape. Buffs in search of a spark here at the end of the half, and Gibson back to the original line of scrimmage. All of that, it'll be 2nd and 10.
Tell you what, this Utah defense is just so suffocating. It doesn't matter what Colorado's tried to do tonight. Utah has an answer for it. No way that they can run the football. Colorado's at -13 rushing yards here in the first half, only 23 passing yards.
We've seen a safety and interception, the 5 TFLs by this Utes defense. Caden Salter, familiar refrain, retreating to his right and out of bounds. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Vamahi is applying that pressure. And Salter hasn't had a chance to set his feet, it feels like, this entire game.
He hasn't, and especially on 3rd down, because Morgan Scalley just keeps dialing up pressure after pressure. If I'm Pat Shurmur and Caden Salter, I'm expecting a blitz here. You got to have a quick option with the football. Shoot, just call a quick screen. Get a guaranteed completion. Give a playmaker a chance to go get a 1st down.
Atkins moves in motion into the slot, top of the screen. Salter again to his right. Salter gonna be sacked. A whistle to play dead back at the 5-yard line. And again, the Utes defense, Jonathan Hall, a race to the quarterback. And Morgan Scalley continues to dial up the heat. Caden Salter and this CU offense, no answer in our first 2 quarters.
They haven't, and here's the same exact theme. Utah brings pressure. Colorado doesn't have an answer. Caden Salter has nowhere to go with the football. I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to Utah, how relentless this defense is playing. The game plan put together by Morgan Scalley, but boy, Colorado has just not helped themselves at all. There's no quick game,
Utah,
no screens.
their first of the half.
It's all things Utah.
It will be 30 seconds.
Leading by 33, the Utes utilized their first time out. And Brock, that play was whistled dead before Salter actually hit the turf. I mean, feels like the veteran officiating crew has seen enough of this, and at some point you know what's happening. He was in the grass, forward progress had stopped, and Salter was still knocked out anyways.
Tell you what, this has just been so lopsided, and Deion Sanders said early in the week they were confident coming into this football game. They said, we know we can hang with Utah because we did it last year. We beat them last year. But I tell you what, when you come into Rice-Eccles Stadium under the lights, you better have that chin strap buckled up, ready to go, because Kyle Whittingham and his ball club, they're going to throw physicality at you every single play of the night. And right now, Colorado has no answers.
Mana Carvalho standing at the 49-yard line, awaiting this punt from Damon Greaves. 5 yards deep in his own end zone. It's off the side of his foot. 2 rows deep here at Rice-Eccles. And Utah in prime position with plenty of time left on the clock at the end of the half. And they're going to mark that football out at the 21. It's a punt of 14 yards from his own end zone, and another mistake by the Buffs.
Just a shank, no other way to put it. And listen, when it rains, it pours sometimes in this sport. And right now, just absolutely nothing going right for Colorado and Deion Sanders and his ball club. Utah with excellent field position and plenty of time to go put an exclamation point on one of the best first halves of football I've ever seen.
Now the numbers support that. Moei went in motion. A jumbo look again. There's a meeting in the backfield by that CU front 4. And stopped after about a half-yard gain on 1st down was Ficklin.
Well, there's finally a good plan for this Colorado run game. You designate your defensive end to crash down on the running back. You have your outside linebacker prepared to play for quarterback run. There's a really good adjustment by Robert Livingston. Just a little too late.
Parker, the running back, he motions out quickly. Ficklin towards the end zone. And there it is again, another touchdown. Larry Simmons from 20 yards out. And the route is on in Salt Lake City. The Utes a statement half tonight against Colorado. And you can feel the confidence. The freshman quarterback, Bird Ficklin, on the rise with each and every snap. First it was on the ground, now it's through the air. He's thrown for 113. He's rushed for $151 in his first career start.
Delay game. Kicking team, number 17. 5-yard penalty. We'll play this drive.
Now, Coach Prime was asked this week, did the bye week come at a good time? Well, the answer was yes, in terms of injuries healing somewhat on defense in the back end. But also the answer was no when you consider the momentum was there, beating Iowa State back in Boulder 2 weeks ago. You get the time off, you have some physical practices. It has not resonated so far tonight. And Utah has taken full advantage, and Simmons now with 3 touchdown grabs on the year.
Well, the freshman quarterback Ficklin just having himself a night. Larry Simmons does a great job on the outside, winning versus man coverage on Tion Parks. This is just a basic go route in the red zone. I love the location of the throw, makes it easy on the wide receiver. And Simmons did a fantastic job of separating for his true freshman quarterback.
Now, Brock, we saw some crazy comebacks earlier today. Alabama on the road at South Carolina, Texas on the road at Mississippi State. BYU here in the Big 12 in Ames, trailing by 40, and nearly 250 rush yards already on the books for Kyle Whittingham's team.
Look at Colorado right there. 27 plays tonight of offensive football and negative yards to show for it. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it.
I was going to say the opportunity for a comeback here.
I was wondering if that's where you were trying to go with that.
Stranger things have happened,
That's
but
the optimist in you.
have they really? Hey, coming up tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Catch NFL Countdown. They'll delve into the Aaron Rodgers reunion in Green Bay, plus live coverage from Philly, Giants, Eagles, and Randy's best catches from the weekend. You got Moss. Then Monday, catch the Commanders and the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern on ABC. ESPN, ESPN Deportes, the all-new ESPN app with Peyton and Eli over on ESPN2 as coverage begins there with SVP. And Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern. Live from Arrowhead.
Who do you watch on Monday Night Football? You watching Peyton and Eli or Joe Buck and Troy Aikman?
I watch Joe and Troy. That's just me.
Okay.
I think they're 2 of the best in the business. That booth is outstanding.
I do the same. I love listening to them.
There's a smoothness. Brock Osweiler, Roy Philpott, Stormy Bonatoni. And after the 2-minute timeout, kind of a microcosm of what we've seen tonight. We'll see if this penalty goes against Utah.
Offside. Defense. Number 90. Causing the offense a false start. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
John Henry Daly forcing some shifting on that offensive front.
Boy, he's made a big impact in the first half tonight. Coming into the ball game with 9 sacks, 2nd best in the country. He's played an excellent game getting pressure on Caden Salter nonstop.
His linebackers have beat him to the punch at times between Jonathan Hall and Trey Reynolds, trying to add to that tally. Daly, the BYU transfer, pressure off the right side. Salter got rid of it, and the pass broken up, intended for Quentin Gibson. And over there to meet him was Smith Snowden. It's 3rd down.
Well, Utah not changing anything, bringing more pressure. Caden Salter gets his football out, but Gibson goes up to try to make a play for his quarterback. Takes a really big hit as he goes to the turf from Smith Snowden. See if Colorado's able to keep this drive alive and beat man coverage here on 3rd and medium.
Buffs with -8 total yards in the half. Salter, it's going to be a little bit more after that. It's Jonathan Hall again. 2nd sack of the game and a loss of 8 more. And Salter just doesn't have a chance so far tonight, Brock.
No chance, no chance. This Utah defense, ears have been pinned back. Fano's going to get the party started. He gets to the quarterback first, and then Jonathan Hall, you mentioned it, Roy, he's going to clean it up and get his defense off the field.
And Logan Fano, John Henry Daly are asking, where's ours? And
Thank you.
the linebackers off the edge. Fano gets a hand on Salter for a moment, and then Hall, as you said, Brock, finishes him off. And don't forget, coming up on the Lexus halftime reports, Arch Manning was banged up in that comeback win in Stark Vegas earlier today. And then Texas A&M. Here comes Mike Elko. Texas A&M Aggies now 8-0, and it's a different vibe so far this season down in College Station with Marcel Reed. We mentioned Colin Klein calling plays on offense, and it's a team that's not going to beat itself these days. It's a new page for that football program. What will the headlines be this week down in Baton Rouge? Brian Kelly, devastating loss, a convincing win by the Aggies in Death Valley. And the fair catch at the 29. What do you like about what we've seen from Bird Ficklin to start in his first career start?
Dare I say absolutely everything. He's done everything for this offense. This is on the very first series of the game with the house call. Came into the game super comfortable, and then he finds his tight end, J.J. Buchanan, down the sideline. I love the play design by Jason Beck. And then he comes back to Larry Simmons. Just a series ago, Bird Ficklin, 6 of 14, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns, and another 151 on the ground and a touchdown. For a kid making his first career start, could it go any better, Roy?
It could not. I like it when you ask me the question. Ficklin heaves one deep and over the outstretched arms of J.J. Buchanan. Feel free to do that in our second half. We may have some chances to do more of it.
I was going to say, maybe we switch roles. Do a little play-by-play. You get over here on the telly.
Here comes a penalty flag in late near the 32. You do a good job on the telly. Like, there's a lot that happens up here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's fun. Let's see what we have here.
Cravon Barrett indicating a call is coming.
It's going to be an eligible man.
Downfield, offense, number 68, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Jaron Kump, starting center.
Correction, still first down.
Just an error on Kump's behalf. It was a clear-cut pass. It wasn't even an RPO situation where it might be a run. One of the very few negative plays for Utah tonight.
40-point lead with 1 timeout. Ficklin to the perimeter. And he'll dance out of bounds crossing the 30.
You know, at some point, and probably sooner rather than later, if I'm Kyle Whittingham, I'm probably going to be done running my quarterbacks. You're already down your starting quarterback. He injured his ankle running the football last week at BYU. You don't want to see another guy go down. So if I'm Kyle Whittingham and Jason Beck, the offensive coordinator, I'm going to really start leaning on these running backs in the second half.
Yeah, Dampier was hit some 25 times in that game. Ficklin eludes pressure, spins to set his feet, and a laser beam out of bounds. It'll be 3rd and 5. Looking for Dallin Bentley along that far sideline.
Well, in Utah, I mean, they have bigger things on the horizon. Matt Berry just showed us the highlight not too long ago. Houston goes in to Tempe today and takes down Arizona State. So Utah, yes, they need some help if they're going to get to the Big 12 title game, but they're alive and well. They can't afford another loss. But I tell you what, you see it right now at 40-0. They are hitting their stride at the right time in the season.
And Ficklin incomplete. Looking for Ryan Davis. OCU gets a stop. And we'll get the football back with 2 timeouts and $1:17 on the clock. If you're Coach Prime at this point, do you just want to get to the locker room and try to reset? You still got some timeouts and clock to work with here.
You know, yeah, that's a really good point, Roy. You want points. You want to try to create some sort of momentum going into halftime. But if you're Colorado, you're at negative 16 yards of offense in the first half. I just think this is a situation you need to count your losses, hand the football off, get this clock running, and just get to the locker room.
Oh, Ryan Phillips, Utah's punter, has more passing yards than Colorado's quarterback, Caden Salter, 25-23. If you can believe that. Well, around the Big 12, you've talked about some of those games. You mentioned Cincinnati and its starting quarterback, Brendan Sorsby, his 2nd year with Scott Satterfield. You watch that team play. They get after you on defense with Dante Corleone, the Godfather. And then Sorsby just makes plays, doesn't turn it over. And it's starting to feel like it's his time to shine. Transferring in from Indiana, 2nd year with Satterfield, who's done a remarkable job coming in. It's taken some time, but guess what? Sometimes it does.
It does. It takes time to build that continuity and chemistry. But I tell you what, you talk about Cincinnati. Who do they play next week? They come right here, Rice-Eccles Stadium against the Utah Utes. It's going to be a heavyweight title fight.
Salter pressured and out of bounds. It'll be 3rd and 5.
And that's really where the Big 12 is going. You talk about those teams: Utah, Texas Tech, Arizona State, Cincinnati, BYU. Every single week moving forward is going to be a playoff game. Stakes are at an all-time high. But next week, Utah and Cincinnati, that's going to be a fun one right here in Salt Lake.
8 pressures resulting in this first half, and Caden Salter simply angling the football out of bounds.
Utah rotating to a 5-man front. Caden Salter, be ready for pressure.
Again, here it comes, and there it goes. Another sack. Fano Lea'ea in a race to the quarterback, sandwich Salter down.
Well, I tell you what, Morgan Scalley is calling himself a ball game. I mentioned Utah, they rotate down to a 5-man front. That gets all 5 offensive linemen in a one-on-one situation, and then you get the linebacker Jonathan Hall able to wrap around the end and get to Caden Salter. Morgan Scalley calling a really good game.
It's a loss of 7 more yards. And Brock, you mentioned it about 5 minutes ago in terms of actual game time. We may be on the verge of some sort of record and a half in terms of difference in total yardage between 2 teams. Utah's approaching 400 yards of offense. Colorado currently with -18.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. And I mean, we knew Utah was a really good football team coming into this game. Obviously, the emotional loss last week on the road against the rival BYU. But Colorado, they had momentum coming into this football game. They got healthy over their bye week. But 2 weeks ago, when they were last on the field, they beat a top 25 Iowa State football team. They were really confident coming in tonight.
Pressure off the edge, and the punt was blocked by the Utes. Jackson Benny broke through the line of scrimmage, and a host of Utah defenders in a first half that has been an absolute disaster for Colorado continues.
When you talk about Utah players that have been having a great season, and Jackson Benny, for just a sophomore, he has been absolutely outstanding. Started the season as a nickelback, then due to injuries had to go back to the safety position, even played some offense early on. And what else can he do? Hey, coach, I'm going to go make some plays on special teams. I tell you what, this guy, his instincts, who he is as a football player, you see the fun Morgan Scalley and the rest of the Utah Utes are having. How about that play by Benny?
Empty backfield, Ficklin off the fake to Daniel Bray, and straight ahead as time winds down in the half. 2nd down and goal. London Merritt kept him out of the end zone. Utah, after a gain of 2.
Utah not taking their foot off the gas.
Bray is spin. The Utes out of timeouts here. And Quinn Barnes Jr. Time winding down, and Ficklin's got to go. He turns around. 5 seconds remaining, just trying to clock it. Got to have 3 seconds on the clock to do that. He had more than 3. And now with 3 ticks left, here comes the field goal unit.
Wow.
I mean, it's already a 40 burger, looking for more here at the end of the quarter and the end of our first half.
I mean, if you're Deion Sanders, I don't even know what you say to your ball club going into halftime. You know, like I said, this is a Colorado football team that came into this game with a lot of confidence. Obviously, Utah shut that down from the get-go with the opening series, but you got to go in, you got to challenge your guys, you got to try to get something better in the second half.
Dominant on offense, also on defense, and at the end of the half on special teams. As impressive a half.
Second half, we're going to find out a lot about Colorado and who they are as individuals. I'm sure Deion Sanders challenged his team to see if they can make this respectable.
Well, an intriguing first half as Colorado will get the touchback to begin our third quarter. Brock Osweiler, Roy Philpott, Stormy Buonantony down on the sidelines. Bird is the word. The freshman quarterback. Don't let that get lost in what has happened. First career start. He's been dynamite.
He's been amazing. He's been perfect. I don't know if I've ever seen a quarterback in major college football be more impressive in his first career start. I know a lot of Utah fans tonight, they were nervous when starting quarterback Devin Dampier went down against BYU a week ago, kind of hobbled out of that game. They were nervous. This is a football team that's still playing for their playoff lives. They're trying to get to the Big 12 title game. But I tell you what, the true freshman signal caller, he has been excellent in the first half of football tonight.
Down to Stormy, what are you hearing?
Well, I asked Colorado head coach Deion Sanders, what do you say to your team after a half like that? And he said, I told him to fight. He said, at this point, this is a half about character. This is about what kind of person, not even player, what kind of person do you want to be? He said, you're going to see a different attitude from his team in this half. And I did ask him if we should expect at any point a change in quarterback with Caden Salter, or do you let him continue to work this out? He said, we could see it.
Ryan Staub, the backup, we saw him as a starter as recently as the Houston game on the road, game in which CU trailed by just 2 at halftime of that contest. And the Cougs have been awfully impressive. That's a 14-yard pickup as Omarion Miller creates the longest play of the day this night here in Salt Lake so far. We mentioned the win against Iowa State just 2 weeks ago. The Cyclones still ranked in the top 25 at that moment. And there have been some wins. There's been some games this year in which Colorado has looked like a vastly different team than what we've seen tonight. Just feels like, Brock, this was a very bad matchup for Coach Prime's bunch from the jump.
You know, it's really hard, Roy, to put your thumb on who this Colorado football team is in year 3 under Deion Sanders. Obviously, you lose the Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter. You lose your starting quarterback in Shedeur Sanders and so many other pieces that went on to the NFL. But Deion Sanders said it this summer. He felt like this was a better football team than the one he had a season ago that won 9 games.
It's certainly a different team. Salter escapes, and this is what he can do. It's the first time we've seen it tonight. Wasn't a design quarterback run, but he's got the wheels, and if you give him an inch, he'll give you 25 yards like he did there.
There's some life out of Colorado, and Stormy said it to us. Deion Sanders challenged his team at halftime. Are you going to fight? Are you going to compete? What are you made of? You're seeing it right there out of Caden Salter. No quit out of the quarterback, making something out of nothing.
And Colorado now on the positive side of the ledger in terms of total offense. Micah Welch had to retreat to receive the screen. He's going to lose at least 5. The stop by Blake Cotton. And a loss of 7 on the screen pass of the running back.
And you know, Roy, just going back to the Colorado and who they are, you knew there was going to be some challenges. When you lose Travis Hunter, when you lose Shedeur Sanders, you have to remember, this is the first time ever since Deion Sanders became a Pop Warner coach, going all the way back that far, he's had a starting quarterback not named Shedeur Sanders. So you knew there was going to be some inconsistencies. You've seen that out of this Colorado football team, but they've also put some really good things on tape, especially going back to that win against Iowa State.
Gibson went in motion. Play action. Salter straight ahead and tripped up crossing the 40. He'll get 4 more yards back. Jonathan Hall, the tackle, Stormy.
Well, as Brock mentioned, with this being the first time that Sanders has had a quarterback that isn't his son, he said, you know, when it comes to trust with Shedeur, he had that innate trust of the prep, the leadership, the on-field deliverables. This year was all an unknown, uncertainty, and it's taken some time to figure out how to best communicate with Salter and how Salter operates as a leader. They've been working on it, but it's obviously taken a lot of time.
It's a position group that Deion Sanders never had to worry about. That's exactly what he told us last night, but that has not been the case with the inconsistencies from that position this season.
3rd and 13. Here comes the heat. Salter steps up again, straight ahead, and spun down close to the line to gain. It's going to be 4th and about a yard. Jonathan Hall stops Salter before extending this drive. It's a 12-yard gain.
How about that individual effort by Caden Salter? Nowhere to go with the football, and here we go with a 4th and 1.
Hayden, the running back, Salter straight ahead. Needed less than a yard. Had to cross the 25, and this will come down to the spot. Opening possession of the second half.
Boy, I thought he got it.
And they're going to say Utah football.
Wow.
Ruling on the field, the runner was short of the line of gain. First down, Utah.
Boy, just needed to get to the 25-yard line. It seemed like there was a great surge by this Colorado offensive line and Caden Salter.
To impress in a multitude of ways. A 43-0 advantage And Bert Ficklin back on the field to begin this third quarter. At some point, you feel like you could see Isaac Wilson, and they're trying to redshirt this season. A penalty flag comes in. Utes get the stop on 4th down. A little fight by CU to start the third, with Caden Salter doing the bulk of the damage there. Do you still get dressed up for Halloween?
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 92, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first
Absolutely.
down.
I do, but here's the issue. So I've been doing it for years. I have 2 daughters. They're 8 and 5, Blake and Quinn. And we always dress up. We always have a great Halloween. We're big holiday family in the Osweiler household. But this year, when's Halloween?
Friday night.
We're going to be on the road. I'm missing Halloween. Don't get to dress up this year, unfortunately, Roy.
Ficklin, little RPO action. And stepping out is Ryan Davis. A good throw.
I did a little John Daly last year. I had the American flag pants, I had the whole thing going, the hair, the whole deal.
I want to go as an option quarterback. Is that frowned upon?
Not in the state of Utah, especially in Salt Lake City.
That's right. It makes a little sense around these parts. It is a fun time of year. Week 9 concluding with this late outing in Salt Lake. A dominating performance by Utah. Straight ahead goes Rogers. Really for both sides. If you're Kyle Whittingham, you mentioned the game coming up next week. Cincinnati comes to town. Bearcats are undefeated in the Big 12, and Utah's trying to get back into that championship mix. And listen, they're going to be favored in all these games down the stretch, and probably a slight favorite next week at home. There's a lot of potential for that game, but if you're Kyle Whittingham tonight, how do you kind of keep things where they are without dealing with more injuries or anything weird happening right before Halloween?
I think you just keep your foot on the gas pedal. Obviously, they're going to start to slowly pull some starters out, let other guys get reps, and which is going to matter. As you head into the month of November and you talk championship month in December, you're going to need those guys. So the good quality reps. But if I'm Kyle Whittingham, you're going to ride this momentum. You just mentioned it. You have a Cincinnati team who's undefeated in Big 12 play coming into Rice-Eccles Stadium a week from today. It's going to be a huge matchup, heavyweight title fight. But Utah, they have aspirations to get to Arlington and to play for a Big 12 championship. They need some help to do it, but first of all, they need to win out. And if they continue to play football like this, things are looking really good for the Utes.
And the benefit of tonight, your freshman quarterback gets the start. First of his career, gains some more confidence. Bentley picks up a first down. And so now, entering November, you have Bert Ficklin and Devin Dampier. That's a 9-yard gain on that pitch and catch. And so for Kyle Whittingham and for Jason Beck, the offensive play caller, you know, the deck starts to get stacked a little more in your favor.
That is a coaching staff's dream, to not have just one, but 2 quarterbacks you know that you have a ton of confidence in to win football games. And that's exactly what Kyle Whittingham found out tonight. He didn't know what he was going to get out of his true freshman quarterback. He was confident. He said he plays with great poise. He has a great demeanor. You would never think he was a freshman. The lights have not been too bright for him. But until you make that first career start, you just don't know. And right now, Bert Ficklin is passing with flying colors. But you're right. Devin Dampier, he's getting healthy. He's going to be back. So you kind of have a 2-headed monster right now at the quarterback position for Kyle Whittingham and this Utes football team.
Now, you and I talked about it before we came on the air today, when we discovered that it would be Ficklin that would get the start tonight. The question is, okay, what do we know about this young man? Wayshawn Parker on 2nd and long, dives down to the 31, and he won a state championship playing high school football in Oklahoma. He certainly can run this offense to perfection. Yes. I mean, it's Ficklin and his arrival that has prompted this coaching staff to look at a redshirt year for Isaac Wilson, who doesn't fit this offense quite as well with what Jason Beck wants to do. But the guy's a proven winner. He was here in the spring, and so the understanding of what this offense should look like, should feel like, I think it's been there, and tonight it takes another massive step ahead.
It really does, and I'm glad you just mentioned that. Bert Ficklin has gotten so many quality reps since he arrived on campus in the winter. When you're able to be here for spring ball as a true freshman quarterback, that is huge. That is everything. And you see Colorado here doing a great job bringing pressure on 3rd down and forcing Utah into a punt situation. But Bert Ficklin, they've been preparing since he's been on campus for this moment. You have to be ready when you have a running quarterback like Devin Dampier. At some point, he's going to battle some injuries. Well, Ficklin, he's been getting really good quality reps in practice with the first team. They eased him into play when they got to the regular season, and you're seeing all of that pay off right now.
Now the sack by Jeremiah Brown, who gets to eat for a moment. Forces 4th and 17. And Orion Phillips had the fake punt and a pass that went for 25 yards in the first half. As the unlucky hop into the end zone.
The toughest stretch down the road. They still have to play Texas Tech on the road, TCU in Cincinnati. Not an easy schedule for the undefeated BYU Cougars, but I'll say this. That comeback win today on the road in Ames, Iowa against a really good Iowa State football team, that was super impressive.
Now, Iowa State, after that fast start, a 5-0 beginning to this season, loss at Cincinnati kind of took away momentum. You lose at Colorado just a few weeks later, and then what we saw in the comeback by BYU earlier today in Ames. Iowa State kind of trending in that wrong direction. You didn't see on that screen what Chris Kleiman and K-State have done recently. They walloped KU in the Sunflower Showdown today, and all of a sudden Kansas State has started to figure some things out. And there's an interesting game next week with the Cats and the Red Raiders that all of a sudden looks much more strenuous perhaps for Joey McGuire and Texas Tech.
I love that you point that out, Roy, and that's exactly why in the Big 12 you can't count out these two lost teams. You talk about Kansas State, Utah, and Arizona State. That's why it's a wide open race. Yes, does BYU and Cincinnati, do they control their own destiny? Houston, yes, they do. But there's so many good football games still to be played.
3rd down and 10. Here comes the pressure off the edge. Salter hit as he throws, and the pass incomplete. And he was trying to spot Quentin Gibson and the freshman Smith Snowden. He's been physical on the edge tonight in that Utah secondary. Was ready and waiting once again.
Well, if you thought that a Morgan Scalley defense up 43 points would stop pressuring their quarterback, guess again. He just brought an all-out blitz zero, brought everybody, brought the house, played man coverage behind it. He is not letting up, and Colorado still has no answers for the blitz that Utah keeps bringing.
I mean, defenses love to pitch the shutout if they're given that chance. In league play in the Big 12, you don't get that opportunity too often. A lot of football left to be played with more than 20 minutes of game time. And Utes again with outstanding field position. Again, our armed forces back now to live action. And the Utes take it into plus territory, Stormy.
And Roy, Dalen told me, DJ told me that with Dalen being his younger brother, growing up, he always felt kind of a responsibility to look out for him. But now what Dalen's doing, DJ looks up to and really admires the person he's become. Told me it actually brought a tear to his eye when Dalen first told him he was going to join the Marines. It was such a proud, and as he termed it, a grown man moment.
Indeed. 2nd down and 5. DJ McKinney's had some good plays on the field tonight. And Parker, with that direct snap action, picks up the 1st down. 3rd time tonight we've seen Wayshawn Parker transfer from Washington State. That Wildcat situation is a gain of 7.
I'll tell you what, if you're a Colorado linebacker, that has to be terrifying. When you see big 99 Tawalonga, he's the lead blocker on this play. Watch what he does. This is 325 pounds coming downhill, leading for Wayshawn Parker. That is just terrifying if you're a defender.
And he's agile too. We saw him catch a pass last week. Simi Tawalonga, playing that rhino position, was recruited as a defensive tackle. Into the flats. Ficklin still on the field and shoved out of bounds inside the 40.
And I love that you mentioned that, because he showed some serious athleticism last week when he got the football thrown to him against BYU, made a defender miss, kind of went up and rotated, showed great feet, and it's kind of been a new trend in the NFL. You go find a really athletic defensive lineman, you convert him to an extra tight end, fullback type position. You see it all over the league on Sundays. I'll tell you what, Tawalonga, he's headed for the NFL when he's eligible.
Yeah, just a freshman, Santa Ana, California. He was the MVP in the state championship game, so he's a winner, can do a multitude of things. And speaking of that reception, how about the soft hands and some nifty moves?
I'm telling you, it's a thing of beauty. This is what makes college football great. Watch it. He has to go up and rotate. The football's coming for his back shoulder, shows the light feet, good footwork, makes one miss. I mean, is that not a beautiful thing to watch?
The footwork for the tractor trailer Simi Taulonga. It is what makes college football so special. First down run's going to lose a couple of yards. Thomas with a tackle in that front four for the Buffs.
Well, it's not just him. It's his counterpart, Moei, 49. When he's out there, and I mentioned it earlier as Moei jogs off the field, Utah uses an extra offensive lineman more than any other team in the country. It really fits who Kyle Whittingham, who his personality is, who he was as a player and now as a coach. He wants physicality at the line of scrimmage at all times, and that's what you get with these extra offensive linemen.
And they run that power formation with that sixth offensive lineman, the Rhino, really for about half of their total snaps. Ficklin was harassed that time, and the pass was deflected by Preston Hodge. Be third down and 13.
Well, and the thing that makes it so difficult for a team trying to defend Utah, it's not just the sixth offensive line, it's a seventh offensive lineman, and then sometimes you get the extra tight end, in there as well. As a defense, you have to spend so much time game planning for that and spending time on practice reps just trying to figure out a way to defend the big fellas.
Third down and long. Ficklin fires a strike. Get a second grab for Whittemore. And Creed Whittemore diving inside the 30. A 7-yard gain on third down and long. And let's see if it's a field goal attempt for Dylan Curtis. We've yet to see any points on the board in this second half after the first two quarters dominated by the Utes.
Boy, Dylan Curtis drilled a 53-yarder in the first half.
This one into the wind, however. And from 45. Yeah, that 53-yarder, the opposite end zone, sailed the top of the uprights. And this kick on the way just slices right through the breeze. Dead center, center cut for Dylan Curtis, the freshman place kicker. Oh, a good sign for Kyle Whittingham's team and the special teams department. Don't forget next Saturday's SEC on ABC matchup. But number 5 Georgia squaring off against the Florida Gators in a rivalry that dates back over 110 years. The action underway 3:30 Eastern on ABC and the all-new ESPN app. How about put Gunnar Stockton, the UGA quarterback, in that Heisman conversation with a couple of comeback wins this year in some dire circumstances. Ole Miss and Tennessee come to mind.
I was going to say just a week ago against Ole Miss, how good was he? And you know, I think he answered a lot of questions. You know, he's been under a little bit of heat, a little bit of inconsistent play throughout the year. But boy, did he really step up to the table against Ole Miss a week ago and put on a big-time performance.
Rebels come back in their victory against Oklahoma earlier today. They trailed by a point in the fourth quarter, then closed out strong. Lane Kiffin, an interesting post-game interview with Molly McGrath. Some OU players talking a little bit of trash during that contest. Let's take a look at how this week's college football rankings are, brought to you by Prudential and what happened today.
You know who nobody wants to see in the country right now? The Indiana Hoosiers. What Kurt Cignetti, Fernando Mendoza, what they're doing. We've talked about LSU, Marcel Reed at quarterback, put him in the Heisman conversation. I mean, a lot of really good stuff. And then how can you miss what Vanderbilt did against Missouri? Diego Pavia, Clark Lee. I mean, can we just get Vanderbilt and Indiana in the national title game?
I was going to say Vanderbilt and Indiana, Georgia Tech or Indiana.
Let's do it.
It would be an incredible story if those teams continue to win games. And Vanderbilt handles its business today against Mizzou. A couple of penalty flags come in late.
It's going to be a horse collar.
Quentin Gibson able to get to the perimeter. But Vanderbilt, a story that continues to intrigue. And Diego Pavia, part of that conversation.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, defense, number 4, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
think more than ever in college football right now, week to week, you just never know who's going to win. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's great for the fans. It's great for the sport. I mean, think about what we're talking about. We're talking about Indiana. We're talking about Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, teams that we haven't been talking about for years, let alone decades, and they have a legit chance to make a run in the playoffs this year.
Well, Georgia Tech still undefeated. Indiana with 3 wins by 50 points or more this season. Kurt Cignetti, Google him. He's a winner.
Yes, yes, and Fernando Mendoza. You know, I think a lot of people thought, you know, Indiana, they might be a one-hit wonder. Okay, yeah, you know, they had a great season last year, historic run. But you go into the portal, you get Fernando Mendoza to come over from Cal. This offense is better than last year. Kirk Cignetti just has his team dialed in. And it's not just the offense for the Hoosiers, it's also how they play defense. One of the best defensive units in the entire country.
Outstanding defense tonight for the Utes, forcing another 3rd down. Buffaloes need 5. Seen a lot of Traylon Miller in at running back tonight, and Cam Michael, a couple of converted receivers. One name we haven't talked about tonight is Joseph Williams, who went off against Iowa State. Brock, 128 receiving yards, a touchdown. That late strike on 3rd down and long to ice the game for the Buffaloes.
Play clock running down.
Timeout, Colorado. They're first of the half. It will be 30 seconds.
And on 3rd and 5, Coach Prime will talk things over with his team. Buffs will have to quickly rebound with Arizona coming to town next week in Boulder. Road trip at West Virginia to close down the season. And then Arizona State and K-State in Manhattan. K-State, that one team that you're probably not looking forward to seeing right now after their slow start this year. An upset loss to Army, a couple of early losses in the league. And, you know, now you win and you thump KU earlier today on the road. And all of a sudden, that game looks a lot more difficult.
I'll tell you what, none of these games are easy. And I get it. West Virginia, they're having a tough year. First year, new coaching staff up there. But to travel out east to more, I mean, that's going to be so Colorado. I mean, this is kind of gut check time. I get it. You're not going to play for a Big 12 title this year, but you're going to try to build some momentum going into next season. That's a tough slate.
Cam Michael in the flats, one-handed grab, lasso down. He's going to lose 2 on 3rd and 5.
Well, the same theme continues for this Utah defense. They bring pressure, just 5 this time.
Roy Philpott, Stormy Bonatoni, appreciate you hanging with us. The final game of week 9. What a week it was. Some comebacks of the crazy variety in the SEC, the Big 12. BYU did to remain undefeated in Ames earlier tonight. We all thought Texas was well on its way to its 3rd loss of the campaign before Arch Manning went down and then the comeback occurred. And that certainly has some folks talking down in the Lone Star State after a punt of 43. Isaac Wilson on the field. Saw him get a handful of starts last season as a true freshman. And some cleanup duty here tonight. The brother of NFL signal caller Zach Wilson.
That's right. And you see it there. Started 7 games for the Utes a season ago, going 2-5 in those contests. I thought he really flashed some big-time potential. Had some issues with turnovers.
Parker on the move. The direct snap again. Wayshawn to midfield and then some. And Wayshawn Parker over 100 yards rushing with that scamper. Give him 49. And now Bert Ficklin with a $150 on the ground. Parker approaching that same number.
What a night by Wayshawn Parker, using Isaac Wilson as a little bit of a disguise. But how about that offensive line once again? Just getting a hat on a hat, getting the play started. And then Wayshawn Parker does an excellent job of changing directions. Tried going up the right side, bounces it out to the left. Another big-time play by this Utes offense.
Only 3 points on the board in this second half. That coming on the field goal moments ago by Dylan Curtis. You did some research this week and into the night tonight about the remaining schedules in the Big 12. We showed you the graphic in terms of strength of schedule. Down the stretch, in our humble opinion, the Fighting Willie Fritzes, somewhere Andre Ware stands tall with this statement. They're in position because it's semi-manageable down the stretch. So I want to go down that road as Wilson tries to get to the edge, corralled near the 40.
Yeah, and I think I know what you're saying about the Houston Cougars. When you look at Willie Fritz and his ball club, they have an outstanding chance to make the conference title game. You see it there, 4-1 right now in conference play. But their final games, they're against West Virginia, UCF, and TCU. So if you think about it, okay, yes, they have the one loss. Who is it to? It's Texas Tech. So they do need some help with BYU, Cincinnati, and Tech kind of controlling their own destiny. But I tell you what, Houston's a football team you don't want to see right now. They are getting hot at the right time.
Nate Johnson, the running back, and nearly an interception by Preston Hodge, who read the quarterback's eyes, Isaac Wilson, absolutely perfectly.
Oh, and Hodge is going to want that one back tomorrow. That would have been a pick six. Finally getting some points on the board for Colorado. Robert Livingston dials up an all-out pressure. And Wilson leaves this football inside, and you can see it there. Hodge had a chance to grab that football and take it back for 6 points.
How about a 59-yard field goal attempt off the powerful foot of Dylan Curtis? Breeze has died down, connected from 53 earlier in the game, 54 earlier this season, and that went about 5 yards short. 12:55 to go.
Morgan Scally and his defensive staff, I tell you what, they put together a heck of a game plan tonight for these Buffaloes.
Crease for Cam Michael, and towards midfield. And the Colorado Buffaloes to change at quarterback. Ryan Staub checks in. It's a 12-yard pickup for Michael. And Morgan Scally wants to protect the integrity of that shutout, and we'll see what happens down the stretch. Buffs, of course, want to avoid it. Try to generate some momentum going into next week with Arizona coming to Boulder. Screen to Brown. Sincere Brown rumbling inside the 35. So Ryan Staub, sophomore, Stevenson Ranch, California. And we saw him get the start. We talked about the Houston Cougars. You know, that was a 2-point game at halftime, and Staub with a couple of late drives. Those the end of the second quarter there in H-Town, you know, did some good things. Houston ran away from Colorado in that second half, but Staub, you know, provided a spark for Coach Prime, trying to secure a win on the road. Launching one deep towards the end zone. Mouthpiece flies out, and Omarion Miller targeted. It's incomplete.
And I'm glad you said that about Ryan Staub. He created a spark, because that's exactly what he did for this Colorado offense early on in the season. Week 2 against Delaware, Caden Salter and the offense, they were kind of sputtering. In comes Ryan Staub, and he created a massive spark, threw a couple touchdown passes, got the starting nod on the road the following week at Houston. Things weren't perfect, but the one thing I know about Ryan Staub, he's going to compete, and he's willing to lay his body on the line for his teammates. Played his tail off. And when you talk to the coaching staff for Colorado, when you start talking to the players around this program, they just have so much respect for this kid because of how he goes about his business.
3rd down and 7. Under 12 to play.
Staub needs to be ready for some pressure. Utah showing zone for the first time tonight on 3rd down.
4 men on the move against Staub. He's going to escape the pocket and needed to get down to the 23. He'll pick up 7 yards right at the line to gain. Elijah Ellis unable to prevent the first down for the Buffs.
Staub did a great job for the first time tonight on 3rd down. Utah drops back into zone, get out of man coverage. In order to go with the football, Staub does a great job using his legs to pick up a first down.
So Brock now the deepest penetration by Colorado in this game. Michael to the outside. Rock Caldwell met him there. And these moments not necessarily impactful in terms of the final result, but get some backup players, some needed reps and snaps down the stretch before November arrives. And Colorado, you're trying to figure something out for next weekend with Arizona. Sepulona, the injured Utah defender. So we step aside in Salt Lake.
For an injured player.
Moments ago, after being helped off the playing surface at Rice-Eccles, Brock Osweiler, Roy Philpott, Stormy Bonantoni, so glad you have decided to stay with us. Wee hours early Sunday morning back east. As week 9 concludes and November arrives, we start to think about and project ahead the college football playoff rankings. In the seam, the pass is caught. And Marion Miller towards the goal line.
It's a really great job of Ryan Staub recognizing what this Utah defense is trying to do. They're bringing pressure. They're playing man coverage. You want to go to your best man-to-man matchup, and that's exactly what he does with Miller.
And it's hard to judge Caden Salter with all the pressure he was under the first 3.5 quarters tonight, but Staub certainly has provided that spark that CU has been in search of and making this road trip here to Salt Lake.
A little bit of confusion. It looks like the offensive line wanted to run the quarterback sneak, and Staub was kind of saying, hey, no, guys, I'm getting back in shotgun.
Colorado, their second of the half.
Timeout called by the Buffaloes as we step aside once again. Is happening with Ryan Staub here?
No clue. Add this to the list of things that have happened tonight I've never seen take place in a football game. You see the offensive line, they're saying, hey, get up here, let's run the quarterback sneak. Ryan Staub says, I'm getting back in shotgun. Just two different position groups wanting to do different things.
Under center, trying to shove him across the plane of the end zone and unable to do so. It'll be second down and goal.
And I think that's what Ryan Staub was trying to say to his offensive line. Hey, listen, I'm not trying to go in there. The Utes are playing quarterback sneak. You see the offensive line for Colorado right now. They're calling for the same play. They want to line up, lower their pads, and try to push this thing in the end zone.
It is a battle of wills at this late hour in the fourth quarter. Utes trying to preserve the shutout.
There is no question what play is coming next.
Staub across the goal line and into the end zone. And Colorado finally on the scoring board.
Running back Draylon Miller, number 6, did a nice little job assisting the backup quarterback, giving him a little extra push to get Colorado finally on the scoreboard here tonight.
Important to note, at least in the second half, CU has outgained Utah in terms of total yards. So what we heard via Stormy from Coach Prime, the veritable check, the manhood when you talk about trailing by 43 points at halftime, how would you respond? At least a step in the right direction. And look for Colorado, a loss tonight. 3-5 overall. You still have hopes and aspirations of getting to a bowl game despite how bad this score looks and how poorly first half was played on both sides of the ball. And you see in the second half, certainly much more competitive after the early 43-point deficit was established.
Yeah, and you know, you're talking about Colorado sitting at 3 wins, and can they find a way to get bowl eligible down the stretch? I'll say this, Roy, it's not going to be easy. Next week you have a home game against Arizona, and I'll tell you what, quarterback Noah Fafita, you know, they're a scrappy team, those Wildcats are. And then you go on the road, tough road trip. You got to go all the way to the East Coast. You play West Virginia. Then you have a good Arizona State team coming to Boulder, and then you finish on the road at Kansas State. I mean, it's going to be really tough sledding for Deion Sanders and his ball club to find themselves playing in a bowl game this year.
9:03 to go. Indeed, certainly appears to be the case. You never know in the Big 12 how things will unfold. Well, while we have a moment, it's time now for the Aflac trivia question. Brock Osweiler,
bring it on.
How many teams, current and former, have won the Big 12 championship game?
Well, that's like a trick question. You're saying currently in the Big 12, so like Texas, Oklahoma, they don't count anymore.
Current and former.
Oh, yeah, I should have read the fine print there. Falling asleep at the wheel, Roy.
So that is a little confusing because you do have Texas and OU.
I can do this.
You have Texas A&M. They were part of the league going all the way back to the mid-1990s in the formation of the conference.
Oh, yeah, then you have Colorado, you have Nebraska. Boy, I think you're sitting around 8 or 9.
I was going to say
9 might be a stretch. I like 8. I'm going to go with 8.
I was going to go with 10.
Were you really?
I mean, it's late.
Well, I'm not even reading fine print over here. I thought it was, current guys, and it's going to be an easy answer of 1.
The Aflac trivia question is never easy.
Well, I don't know.
You've had some good ones?
I hit once in a while. I was kind of in the sniffing around last week.
I feel like somebody tipped you off if that was the case.
Ooh, no, never. We don't do that. We play it by the rules on E-Crew.
Wilson, the quarterback, and sent backwards at the 30. A lot of teams in the Big 12 over the years. That makes the answer a little tricky right before Halloween. And the answer revealed, 8. How many teams, current and former, have won the Big 12? The Aflac trivia question answer is boom.
Boom. Come on. You got to make it harder, Roy.
OU with 14 overall. Texas with 4. Baylor, K-State, Nebraska. And your Arizona State Sun Devils, of course, just 1 year ago. Colorado and A&M.
How about that?
That's a fun question.
Man, that fires me up. It's big.
Third down ramble as we ramble. Halfway home in our fourth quarter. Yields 4th down. One of my first memories of the Big 12, that Kansas State team with what Bill Snyder was able to do and just building that program out of nothing. And the championship against Texas A&M. Michael Bishop in like mid to late 90s, and there's a threat of Wildcats going to the national championship, and here comes Texas A&M. Always fun.
People forget prior to Bill Snyder taking that job,
it's the worst program in America.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, he left and retired. They became awful again. Then he came back and he did it again. It's amazing. Great punt by Phillips.
That's probably why you named the stadium after the guy, right?
Bill Snyder Family Stadium, indeed, in Manhattan.
I should watch a documentary on that this week. Just that complete turnaround and how he was at Iowa and skeptical about taking the job, but what a job he did turning that thing around. And
now the student section remaining intact, and the number of shirtless students appears to be on the up and up this late hour.
Tell you what, Ryan Staub making the most of his reps tonight. Finally getting a little bit going in the passing game. 3 for 4 since he's come into the ball game. 44 yards. Bring a little bit of juice to this offense late.
Quentin Gibson, a lot of targets tonight for Colorado. And still alive is Cam Michael. And quite a burst in this fourth quarter for this offense, and you wonder what that means against Arizona next week. 17 yards there, and would you think more about Ryan Staub with the sense of he's found ways to move the football, now in back-to-back possessions, looking for another chance to get more points on the board.
I think you have to. If you're Pat Shurmur, if you're Deion Sanders, it's definitely something that you need to have a very serious conversation about, because at the end of the day, Caden Salter was your starting quarterback to begin the year. You weren't happy with how he was playing. He was a bit inconsistent, trying to learn a new offense. So you pulled him out, you put Staub in. Okay, then you pulled Staub, you put Salter back in, but then you have the result that you have tonight. Caden Salter, 9 of 22, 37 yards. Now, I get it. It wasn't all on him, but you can't deny the spark that Staub has brought to the offense anytime he's been on the field this year.
And Miller, when he gets the ball in his hands, this young group of wide receivers got a chance to make plays. He'll pick up 22. We asked Coach Prime last night, do you trust Caden Salter, and how is that relationship being formulated? He says, well, you're going straight for the jugular as soon as we mentioned that. And he said, what are you talking about, on the field, off the field? And I said, let's start on, and then let's move to off the field. And on, it's a bit of a work in progress, but he threw for 250 against Iowa State. He ran for 50 more against the Cyclones in that win. And so it leads you down this uncomfortable path of, okay, he did that then. Tonight, under constant pressure. Meanwhile, Staub has at least brought some stability And the offense is recognizable with what we've seen these last 2 drives.
Yeah, I'm really glad you point out the Iowa State game, because Kaidon Salter did. He played fantastic. Threw for 250, rushed for another 50, couple touchdowns. But it's the inconsistencies, and you just feel like there's some sort of disconnect with him and Pat Shurmur's offense, because he came over from Liberty. He was a highly sought-after quarterback in the transfer portal. He left Liberty a winner, 21-4 as a starting quarterback, but things just haven't clicked for him in Boulder. And at some point, I do think you need to look to Ryan Staub. He's just a sophomore, but he certainly brings a spark to this offense. And you mentioned it. Deion Sanders said it to us last night. He really likes his wide receiver room. They just need more opportunities catching the football, and I think Ryan Staub might provide that best opportunity.
On 3rd down, Staub heaves it, end zone, and incomplete.
And Roy, speaking to that conversation about trust, I thought the comparison that Deion Sanders made for us was pretty interesting. He said it's kind of like old school driver's ed. You know, in those old cars, there's a second brake pedal on the instructor's side. He said that's him. That Salter's driving the car, but he still has his foot at the ready on the brake pedal just in case they get off track. And I think that kind of was a great example of what he feels like that connectivity or lack thereof has been like.
Great point by you, Stormy. 4th down and 8. Buffs 0 for 1 on 4th tonight. Staub wants it all again. Brown breaking open, and the pass sails high and incomplete. It made me feel good in hearing that from Deion Sanders, that I wasn't old enough to remember that's how those cars used to be constructed. I'd never heard of that before. And Coach Prime said that was back in the day. We looked at him and he's like, you're right, Coach, because none of us had heard of that. At least I haven't.
It was pretty good. He had us all laughing. That was great.
It was an eventful 2 weeks during the open date. He was able to spend some time with John McEnroe and ventured down to Texas for a bit and some rare time off in the middle of the season. Then the physical week of practice leading into this game. Left edge run to the 44. Stormy, what are you seeing there on the Utes sideline?
Well, I just wanted to remind people again that this lead in this game has been done without Devin Dampier out here on the field. And for somebody who obviously gave his all to try to be out here and available this week, he's been giving his all on the sideline throughout the entirety of this game. The way that he has been going up and down the field, encouraging his teammates. He came out in the second half in street clothes, but he has been just the consummate epitome of what you would want in a leader and teammate, and encouraging nobody more than Bird Ficklin. It has been so cool to see those two interact here.
Nate Johnson, Wildcat quarterback, straight ahead. Nate on the move towards the end zone, and the Utes strike again from 56 yards out. Transfer from Vanderbilt. Nate Johnson, a little 6'7", and why not? Third score from 50 yards out or further this evening. 53 on the board tonight on homecoming for the Utes.
Well, how about this run by the redshirt junior Nate Johnson? But you gotta once again give so much credit to this Utah offensive line, the tight ends, everybody involved in this run game, blocking. See the celebration there by Johnson. It's just been absolute clinic play by the front five for the Utah Utes tonight. Just opening up gaping hole after gaping hole, rushing for over 400 yards on the game.
It is late. I do want to ask you, the Selly was the 6'7", right? You're familiar. You're familiar.
I'm only familiar because my third grade daughter says the boys do it on the playground. I'm still learning. Teach me, Roy. What's this 6'7" business?
I mean, it is absolutely swept the country, swept the planet. Get on TikTok.
I don't have TikTok.
Well, that's part of the problem.
Actually, I think that's the solution. I think too many people are on TikTok. All the other stuff that's out there. It's all right. You're gonna school me up after the game on what all that is.
Buffs get it back. And from 5 yards deep, here comes Gibson again. And Quentin Gibson has shown Coach Prime's Ram in position, just one loss on the campaign.
So impressive what Willie Fritz and his ball club are doing in year 2. But the other one that jumps out to me is Memphis taking down South Florida today. I think a lot of people had South Florida kind of penciled in as the team from the group of 5 that was going to head to the college football playoff. Memphis had something to say about that today.
I got one more team for you out of the group of 5.
Hit me.
That people keep forgetting. They're undefeated, and they have a quarterback that is as dynamic as any player in America. Stop's going to be sacked. 6th sack of the game by the Utes defense. Elijah Ellis enters the chat. That team is the Navy midshipman and quarterback Blake Horvath. Sensational running. That wing T hybrid option, throw it down the field attack with Drew Cronick calling ball plays.
That's right. He really jumped on the scene a year ago. Country learned about him, all the college football fans, and you're right. Navy putting together another outstanding season.
Another sack. Back at the 24. Down goes Staub. Cash Dillon. Sack number 7 of the night. The 2-minute timeout is here in Salt Lake City. And much more right here on ESPN, also on the ESPN app. Rice-Eccles Stadium homecoming, and much of this capacity crowd, the 93rd consecutive sellout, made their way towards the exits. First half that was as dominant by any team in the FBS this year versus another. Rayshawn Glover, a stiff arm out of bounds and shoved down. Utes will have a couple of more snaps before we wrap things up. And again, setting the table for next weekend, Cincinnati comes to town. Brendan Sorsby, and the Bearcats undefeated in the league. And will it be Bird Ficklin, Devin Dampier under center, Dampier in street clothes, Ficklin an incredibly successful first start tonight. And that game with significant Arlington implications when you think about BYU, Cincinnati, both undefeated in Big 12 play, and Utah there with 2 losses trying to re-enter that mix. They'll have to beat the Bearcats here at Rice-Eccles 1 week from tonight. Bryce Duke, second carry into plus territory. One team we did not mention in this second half. Didn't see him play, but Ohio State continues to just pummel the opposition. Matt Patricia is the defensive play caller.
Yes.
Sensational acquisition by Ryan Day, the defending national champions. Much more to be said about that in the coming week with Indiana, Texas A&M, still undefeated Georgia Tech, all handling their business in week 9.
You know what I think of when you mention all that? We have one more weekend of games next weekend, and then we get the first college football playoff rankings right around the corner. Here we go.
That gets us excited, right?
Here we go. Who is it? Who's the 12?
Kyle Whittingham's team still with a chance, able to come back and win the Big 12. They'll need some help along the way, but a big win tonight. 3rd win in league play, improving to 6-2 overall, 3-2 in the Big 12 conference, and a chance to take down undefeated Cincinnati next Saturday. And week 9 comes to a close in Salt Lake City. And for Coach Prime, it is back to the drawing board for the Utah Utes. Homecoming victory, their 7th win in a row against Colorado here in the friendly confines. 2 good friends, Kyle Whittingham and Coach Prime, meeting at midfield after this win by the Utes.
And not just that, how about some major momentum going into that big time matchup you mentioned against Cincinnati next week. 587 yards of total offense.